You tell me when you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
I went down to Haiti to meet the center of victims, which I spoke about before, but I want to add to it. It was interesting that there was 3 prisons that I went to. One, the men's prison. I discovered in there the most outstanding fact was that a lot of the men who were in jail were not allowed out of jail because there was no judge in Haiti to allow them out. It's an amazing fact. In the boys' dormitory or whatever it was called for their prison, there was about 160 boys in there. They had 1 bed, and I looked at the medicine cabinet. There were 2 aspirin, um, and that's unconstitutional to have youth in jail in Haiti like that. Same for the young girls. I went over to the girls' prison. It was one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen. As you entered, on your left would be the richest kids, and as you went around the room, they got less rich. As they went around, the poor were at the right hand of the door. That's how they'd set up their own prison. The girls had set up their own prison. Um, I'd never seen anything like that before, but that's an unconstitutional jail in Haiti as well. Uh, I've been asked to speak about growing up, what it was like to grow up in the 40s and 50s in Pittsburgh. So I'll address it in my family background a bit. My my mom was a school teacher until she was 26 or so. Um, she taught first grade in a poor part of Scranton. It's called Grassy. And my father was a miner, later kind of a bank clerk of sorts. When they got married, they decided to move to Pittsburgh and try steel. And he started a night school at Carnegie Tech in order to work his way to become a metallurgist. And that actually worked. And my mom had 7 children in 9 years. Um, and in the same period as he was going for his to become a metallurgist, um, in 1923, the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, decided to march on our part of town, our meaning the Irish town, which is part of Carnegie, Pennsylvania, and it's still there today. Um, and there was only one mill. It was called Superior Steel, where my father worked. And so they marched down this hill, and as they came across the Chartiers Creek, there was a bridge there, the Irish met them and derobed them, beat them up, and actually their leader was killed. It was blamed on one of the better-known Irish Catholic men in the community, but he was deemed innocent by a court trial in a pretty quick hurry. The It broke the back of the KKK in Pennsylvania, which had been growing at that rate. But today you can still feel in some parts of that part of Pittsburgh and south and east is it's still probably pretty racist attitudes out there, uh, and it's kind of a leftover, I think, from that period. The So in my father's factory, where he became either the head metallurgist or on the team, an important person because he used to go out to Chrysler Motors. He used to go to Minnesota to get the iron ore out of Minnesota, shipped down to Pittsburgh. Um, but they singularly, in that factory, Superior Steel, made the bullet for World War II that was used in Stalingrad, that defeated the Nazis in that fabulous battle where I think the Russians lost 2 or 3 million people and finally won. Um, but that bullet was so important to the World War II effort, it was given free to any other steel company in the United States that wanted it because it saved copper and shot the heat out of the front of the gun rather than the heat staying in the gun. So it was a very successful. He was killed when I was 2. As we entered World War II, he was about to start making an awful lot of money, and then boom, he was gone, and my mother's left with 11 children, and the 2 of us, the youngest of us, which I know the best, of course, is that we just decided my mom was overloaded with work. We couldn't add any work to her. We weren't going to do that. And we just took off, kind of. Today she'd probably be arrested for it, but um, we would just go. We went wherever we wanted to. You could sneak on a streetcar in the back You know, the back doors used to open. You could go low and sneak on, get to where you want to go. Used to be able to thumb a lot, so we did that. We moved around and we kept our mother happy, but nobody really ever knew where we were. Uh, and in wintertime, our house didn't have, it was a good brick house, but on the third floor it didn't have any heating. So my brother and I felt we bonded together to keep warm. It was it was a pretty cold place, but we were a poor family. We had gone from, you know, lower middle class to middle class or whatever, and boom, you know, my father passes and we sink, and so from there on we didn't have much, and so it's where I'm very grateful to Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Eleanor. They passed Social Security, and it saved me and my family from going to an orphanage, and they kept us together. And my mom raised us all well. We all did pretty darn well. So it was a success story, and my mom was able to pull off the job of raising 11 people by herself. Oh, I just wanted to mention that. There's some meetings.
Is this a new one?
Go ahead. I was just.
Is this a new one?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just cut.
Yep. Yeah. Let me get a little water too.